get the opening statement from coach and we'll take questions after, so raise your hands, please.
Yeah, we're looking forward to these next two games. Thought game one was good, plenty to work on, but it's good to get one like that to kind of get some confidence with the guys, and you know, we were able to go down and score a few points. But you know, these next two teams are both picked. The next three teams are all picked to win their league. You know, this next one's particularly good for us, good for me personally. You know, Brian Hodgson did a great job turning that program around in 1 year. You know, he spent 8 years with me, so it's be second year in a row they've come back and played us at our place. So, you know, I think they were just one of two programs with a first-year head coach last year to have 20 or more wins over Division I teams. You know, he did an unbelievable job turning that around. They had over 20 losses when he inherited it, and then he was only one of two to turn around and get over 21 or 20 plus wins over Division I team. Now they're picked to win their league in his second year, so they're going to play similar to us. I mean, they do, you know, a lot of stuff like we do, which that's why I'm glad he's winning. It's formula's working at other levels and other spots, but hopefully we, you know how to guard it fairly well. You know, their personnel is obviously different. They've got some pretty tough players at, you know, different spots. We got to know their personnel, but schematic-wise, we should know what they're doing, and they're going to, I would assume they'll probably run with us. That's how they play. They put up a lot of points, similar to us putting up a lot of points in most of their games, and you know, I think Brian's done a great job, and you know, I don't necessarily look forward to playing these guys, but I look forward to seeing them, and you know, wish him and all the other three guys, you know, Charlie and Petway and Austin, all of them, I hope they all do well. But for this one game, we hope one of my former assistants takes an L. But we'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Start with Blake.
Yeah, Coach, you changed up the starting lineup a little bit in game one. You had guys like Latrell and Grant coming off the bench. I was wondering, what's the importance of, or is there an importance of having kind of a firm starting lineup, or with the depth of this team where you're going to be kind of mixing guys in and out?
I would anticipate us mixing guys in and out for a while at least. I think whether it's matchup wise, you know, guys' injuries, you know, those three guys will still be on a minutes restriction. It'll be a little bit more than last game, but you know, all that stuff kind of plays into it. And then it's also, I don't think it's the smartest thing to play all your veteran guys right away at the beginning and then have all your young guys come in. You know, it'd be good to have a mixture of both. I think the veteran guys maybe help the younger guys' energy. And I mean, shooting LeBaron had 9 assists. Sometimes you put him out there with some of the veteran shooters and whatnot. He's done a good job finding them. I think we're going to mix it up a little bit. I'm still not quite sure who's going to start this game, but everybody will get an opportunity to play. I mean, all the scholarship guys, I would anticipate they would all play and kind of see who earns more minutes from there.
Charlie.
Kind of sticking with that a little bit, you talked about Grant knocking some rust off. Just what did you think of the way that he and Trelly and Aiden played after missing time, and how they kind of responded after playing 15 plus minutes?
You know, they all needed to get the rust knocked off. I think that pass you saw Grant throw into the stands, that's what happens when you don't practice for a month. You know, Trelly, I could just tell he wasn't his normal self, and then he hit that 1-3 coming off that ball screen right in front of our bench in the second half. And you know, I kind of just feel like he was relieved. It's, you know, I think you'll see all three of those guys a little bit better, particularly Trelly and Grant. I thought, you know, Aiden, it's not only was he out for a while, it was also his first game in college, but I was pretty happy with Aiden, to be honest with you. First game in college and not having practiced for as long as he had. You know, he went to the offensive glass. I thought he played great for us. So, you know, he's going to continue to get better too. But, you know, Trelly and Grant weren't what they were at the end of last year because they just haven't practiced as much. I think you'll see them like a lot better Friday night. I think they need to get a game rep under their belt, and they have, and I think they'll look a little bit better.
Okay.
You mentioned Brian's 1 year turnaround, them being picked to win the league. When you're coming in and you're in your first year, second year, What's kind of the key of establishing a foundation or a new culture? What traits do you look for to let you know you're on the right track?
You know, I think everybody talks about culture, but culture is what's the program about? What do they hold themselves accountable to? And when we got here, and you know, Brian, Charlie, and Petway, you know, helped us build this thing here. You know, our biggest thing was what are the attitudes like, and what is the effort like every day? Like you got full control over your effort, you got full control over your attitude, and I think when those two are where they need to be, I think you can work on teaching, you know, the system and everything kind of from there. So we fought hard to make sure that, you know, guys trusted us, believed in us, that we legitimately had their best interests at heart. You got to build that relationship so that you can get max effort out of them. You know, and if they weren't playing as much as what they wanted, I thought we had some guys with great attitudes. I mean, you look at a guy like Alex Reese that helped us establish the program right out of the gate. And, you know, I couldn't be happier for him. He's playing in the NBA, scored his first NBA points, but his attitude was great those first 2 years. Like you know, pretty much every day, even on maybe days he didn't feel like practicing. Herb Jones helped establish that. So I think those are the most important ones. But then you also want to put your style of play in. Like some coaches, I feel, don't put in a certain style because they don't have a roster for it. Well, when are they going to put it in? Like, you know, Brian went there, probably didn't have the roster exactly the way he needed it, but put our style in. They scored a lot of points and helped them get the roster for year 2 here. You know, and Brian and Charlie and Pat had it a little bit different. I don't want to say easier per se, but different in that transfers were eligible right away. When we got here, transfers weren't eligible right away, so it was harder to turn the roster around as quickly to the way you want to play. But we put our style in right out of the gate, and we played fast. We took a lot of threes, even though maybe our roster wasn't set great for that. You know, we didn't have bigs that could play on the perimeter so much. We did have Reese, but you know, we didn't have multiple ones that first year. But I thought in year 2, when we had the roster a little bit more like we wanted it, and we had the culture established, that's when we won the FCC regular season tournament both, and kind of got this thing off and running.
Jack.
Hey Nate, I heard Latrell say the other day that this year's practices have been the hardest he's ever had in his career. You know, what's kind of been maybe the difference in intensity in some of the practices this year versus years past with the team this deep, and how do you kind of manage just having that intensity without burning players out?
The biggest thing, in my opinion, is the depth and the maturity of the team, because, you know, we've got the depth, so there's always hopefully going to be 5 really good players going against 5 really good players. You also have a maturity factor where we don't have anybody coming in being a distraction, you know, not playing hard, us having to coach effort. Like we're not having to coach effort much this year, which that's great. You know, you coach schemes, you coach how to attack things, you coach time and score, you know, typical stuff you would think of in coaching basketball. You get to coach. You don't have to beg guys to play hard, argue with them about their attitudes. Like we haven't really had that this year. We've got a really good group that's all about the right stuff, that's holding each other accountable, that's pushing each other. You know, if you watch one of our practices, Mark Sears is going extremely hard every day on the defensive end, trying to set the tone. The young guys that sometimes you have to teach them how hard they have to play when they get in college. We haven't had to do that. LeBaron came in right out of the gate. Darion, I mean, one of the best things he does is play hard. He's tough. He's physical. You know, Aiden Sherrill, you know, saw many offensive rebounds he had in game 1. Like from, you know, our young guys up through our veteran guys, we got a hard playing, mature group, and I think they push each other and make each other better in practice every day.
Brent, Joe.
Coach, from a defensive perspective, you talked a lot about defense this offseason. Where do you feel like you are from a night 1, from night 1's performance, and what do you think the next steps are going into the next couple games?
You know what? Our defensive effort's been great, which that's the baseline. You got to give effort every day. So that's where it needs to be. I think you saw some of the rim protection. You know, Cliff had some good blocks Monday. You know, they'll Arkansas State will probably do a little bit better job, maybe trying to pull them out of the lane. But, we're still gonna get them to the rim as often as we can and try to protect the rim, but we also had guards that, LeBaron had 2 blocks. So I think we've got tougher, more physical guards that keep the ball out of the lane. I think some areas of improvement, and we've only had 1 real game, but the exhibition, we've got to be able to be tough, physical without fouling. We fouled too much the Memphis game. And I think we've got to be able to do it every possession. And no matter what the score is, I think you just establish that mindset, and that's kind of where we're working at. There's no major gaping holes in our defense so far that I see, but it's just a lot of little things. Our defensive rebounding, it's got to get better. We gave up too many boards one day, and Arkansas State's going to really stress their offensive rebound. They're an elite offensive rebounding team. Brian coached that when he was here with us. He was kind of in charge of offensive rebounding. He's the head coach, so he's paying attention to that, and those guys go really hard. So, we're going to have to do a better job boxing out, keeping them off the glass. That'd probably be the biggest area of concern I'd have against Arkansas State. On our defensive end, there's other stuff. They got good shooters. We can't let their shooters get off. They've got, tough physical downhill drivers that we got to do a good job keeping out of the paint. But that's the offensive rebounding is an area they can really hurt you on. That we haven't been great at that yet. We got to get a lot better at that.
Anyone else? Jack, last one.
Just because we won't speak to you before McNeese, obviously, Coach Wade, you have a lot of familiarity with him. How are those conversations just setting that game up, and how excited are you to coach against him again?
I mean, listen, I got a ton of respect for Will. I played him when he was at VCU and I was at Buffalo, and he was good. He was better than us then. We had some battles at LSU. He's got McNeese State back on the national stage quickly. I think they had 30 wins last year. I think it's the first time in school history they had 30 wins at Division I program. So they're getting votes in the AP top 25 poll. I think they're good. So I know what it's like to be a good mid-major. It's hard to get good games. Will's trying to get good games for their team. They call us because pretty much everybody in the country knows we play good teams and we want good teams. We don't want to play bad bye games. I don't think that makes you better. So they call him. Adam came to me, hey, are you interested in McNeese State? I was like, yeah, let's schedule them up. I know they're going to be good, and I want to play good teams. I mean, I don't want to play a game where we can play bad and still win the game. It doesn't make you better. If we play bad tomorrow night, we're going to lose. If we play bad Monday night, we're going to lose. Now, if both teams play to their potential, we should win both those games. But we can't play bad. I don't want a game where we play bad and still get a win. So we have to bring it on Friday night. We're going to have to bring it on Monday night. They're both really good teams. They're both picked to win their league. They both have really good coaches that know what they're doing, that wanted to challenge their teams. If you're a team at that level that wants to win your league, you're trying to play really good teams. They also need to play on the road some high majors in these bye games, and a lot of high majors won't play them because they're too good. I mean, Ryan told me he's tried to get, told me the teams in the SEC he's talked to play, most of the teams won't play them. And I'm sure Will's got the same problem, but we're not really like that. And now sometimes it's hurt us. We have lost to Davidson, but Birmingham was a little bit different deal. We got them last second because it was a COVID deal, and Colorado State couldn't call them. But our first game ever here, we played Penn. That was probably stupid. We weren't ready at the time, but we lost it. So I think we're playing teams that you could lose to. Maybe it bites you at some point, but I think over the long run it helps you because it makes you guys come ready to play every night. I think it gets you ready for conference play a lot better than playing bad teams. And we're going to continue to play good teams, so the good mid-majors are going to call us, and we're going to keep scheduling them up.
Thanks, Coach.